Um, okay, so one more question, and this is going to be like an amalgamation. Is that the right word? Amalgamation
Yeah.
of a bunch of questions that I've seen asked in the chat by lots of people. Um, Basically, so you mentioned earlier that you're kind of a prodigy. You got into this very young. People want to know how you did that, and I think it's because this industry, whether it's or not even just the industry, like the I don't know what to call it, the sector, right? Finances, pharmaceuticals, etc. Um, I think to a lot of people seems like unapproachable. Right? Like, how do you even begin to touch this stuff? So people want to know how you got into it, how you started, where they should start today. If you were starting over today, where would you go?
Yeah. I answered this a lot on my streams. I think the first thing, probably the first like rule of business is the emperors often have no clothes. Like we look at these things that we're talking about, hedge funds, traders, pharma, as like these big scary like institutions where people are really smart and they have all the answers figured out, and nothing could be further from the truth. A lot of the best drugs ever were discovered by accident. Merck, their biggest product is called Keytruda, and it's this amazing wonder drug for cancer. Merck had no idea they were going to get Keytruda. It was an accident. It was a complete accident. I know all the people involved, and it was a total accident that Merck stumbled into this drug that is basically the drug that saved the whole company, and it's their biggest drug and has saved millions of people. Business is inexact, and you can have some confidence in yourself. It doesn't mean you should have arrogance, and it does require a lot of studying and thought. But I think the biggest thing people are looking for in business is someone who's a quick learner, who's willing to learn and willing to do anything to help the company exceed. A lot of people think about business and they think about themselves. And I think that in the long run, of course, you're thinking about yourself. But the best interview advice, like I give out, is what can you provide to this company? Why are you there? It's not for you. It's not because the business or this job is going to be good for you. Yeah, that's the subtext. I mean, yeah, you're not there because you want to have a bad time. But the job that they're going to give you is for them. And I think that a lot of people sort of tend to forget that, you can provide value to a company without being the smartest programmer or the best, kind of specific sort of stock model or something like that. Nobody wants to work with a jerk. It seems like the guy that asked the question before you is a bit of a jerk. He could be the greatest stock forecaster ever or the best programmer ever. He's never going to get a job because people hate working for jerks and working with jerks. And they just as soon fire them and get somebody on a scale of 1 to 10 who's maybe not a 10, but maybe they're a 9. But they'd much rather work with them. They're a team player. They're not an asshole. Things like that are really important to being a good coworker. And I think a lot of people sort of focus on being like the best at something when the reality is like just being agreeable goes a long distance. Being a friendly person that works hard and that doesn't make excuses and just a bunch of like basic sounding things. But a lot of people get so self-centered that they don't realize that they're making excuses or they're being a jerk. And one guy who does a really, really good job of this, which you rarely see, but I can't recommend him enough, is this guy Patrick Lencioni, who's a best-selling author and a management consultant. But he does these YouTubes as well. And man, I read this guy in prison and I thought it was like, not life-changing, but like really, really great management, almost life-changing stuff. And he's got a YouTube, and it's not that popular, which is shocking. He's popular, but he should be even more popular because his advice is so good. And I agree with a lot of what he says about how to be a better executive, how to get started at a younger age or achieve more. I would add just one thing, that it's not about your age, right? Yes, I was able to do a lot of things earlier than other people, but some of those things would regret, and I'd rather have taken my time and really. There's never a rush. People who are ambitious always think there's a rush. And you can be ambitious long term and still go about things a little more slowly. It doesn't matter if you make your first million by 30 or by 35, or you make your first 10 million by 40 or whatever the number is. Like, those things are really not going to be as important as you think they are. A lot of times when I was in my 20s or teens or whatever, I was like, oh, I want to have this done by this age. And I could tell you now safely that that's the stupidest way of thinking about things. It really doesn't make a difference what age you do something by. Some reporter might care about that and write a YouTube about it or some shit like that. But what matters is that you do the right thing for you at the right time that you think it's the right time. A lot of the companies I started them probably a year or two at least earlier than I should have. A lot of the decisions I made, I did a year or two earlier than I should have, just because I thought it would be impressive to somebody else, and it would end up backfiring. And that's a really really dumb way to go about things. And a lot of it's ego and comes from like this world of wanting to impress people, and sometimes that comes from childhood and is a trait that you can sort of negatively affect you, that you inherit from your childhood, where for whatever reason want to really sort of seek out affirmation and love and things like that. And you tend to overdo it in your personal life, by in business life, by trying to sort of achieve more than maybe you're ready for at the time. So I think that it's important to sort of pace yourself and not you have plenty of time to make money. And if you go too fast, you might make a mistake. And by making a mistake, you end up sort of screwing up, what you actually, could have achieved for yourself. And I think, again, I'm to some people an inspiration, but to other people, I'm a cautionary tale. And that's, you can probably get a little bit of both from me. You can get some things to do and some things not to do. And that's one thing I'd recommend not to do, is to go too fast and try too hard.
Thank you so, so much for that. Martin, it was great to have you on. I know there's a lot of people here who had questions, who were upset with me in DMs, but we can't take up too much of this guy's day. Martin, if you'd be willing to come back, we would be very, very happy to have you. But thank you so much for coming around today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'd just say that it sounds like you guys have a really good community over there at it's discord.gg/politics. It sounds like a really awesome group, really intelligent discussion. So I'm going to try to spend some time over there when I can.
Yeah, that would be amazing. We're going to post up your stream and announcements. And thanks again. And I'll definitely be pestering you again for another AMA, because there are a lot of people who are just really pissed off at it that I didn't get to them.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thanks, Ryan. You have a good Sunday.
Glad that shit's over with. Time to play some Fortnite and smoke some crack. Idiots. I don't even believe 99% of what I just said. Fucking work hard, all that bullshit. I don't do any of that. Are you crazy? If only they knew the truth. Dummies. Where's their phone number? Let me see here.